First, it is me, Crimson 60620, and we are live. I'm gonna turn off the camera because the camera is actually open and on me. And as we do with every broadcast, we start the show with and everything all set up. All right, guys. It is me, Crimson 60620, and we are here. All right. So, last Sunday we did American Krogan's video of how men love to play open world games, and if you'd like to change it, because men's video games are men's clubhouse and no girls allowed. I saw that was asinine, stupid, and quite frankly inviting criticism. And so, without further ado, I bring you his response video. And as always, when I upload this video, you can actually find it in the description. I think this is actually a pretty good format that I'm actually trying to do, because I'm actually trying to do it live, and I'm actually going to plug my headphones in order to actually hear the music, or hear the response. So, without further ado, we are about to debunk.
I spent a few hours today reading through comments on some of my videos, and a few caught my eye. Since I don't have time to go over all of them in a single video, I'm just going to pick one here. This one comes from my Why Men Like Open World Games video. Now before I start, let's just say this might turn out to be more of a response than a pure rebuttal.
That's actually a little bit better. You are referencing one of your old videos, when we properly debunked and actually kept going. And now I'm actually doing. I only chose to pick out only one of his criticisms. But let's go.
So with that said, here we go. His comment starts off, quote, You sound like a reasonable person. I don't question your logic, but I do question most of your starting premises. Who said women don't like open world games when Dragon Age Inquisition and Assassin's Creed Syndicate are very popular among women? How about that many MMOs have larger percentages of women than the percentage of gamers in general?
Alright, so let's see if we can actually, oh, there we go. So he's actually using this comment, and I'm bringing it up for you guys to actually read. And as long as he actually leave it up. So this video, one, he's actually making a valid point. Your criticism is the American Krogan's criticism was he had some good points, but his conclusion that he got to were very flawed. And the guy brings up that people like open world games, not just men.
Most MMOs embody the whole cooperate, gain, and win ethos more than single-player open worlds. Knocks that train of thought right off the track. Okay, well, I didn't say that absolutely no women like open world games. I said that men like them more. The idea being that open world games have more male players than female. If Assassin's Creed Syndicate or Dragon Age Inquisition have higher than average female player bases, great. It's admittedly interesting that 49% of the player base in Dragon Age Inquisition is female.
So, this kind of goes against his point. And what the commenter was actually saying is that most of the reason why it's a game, people like playing the game. And I'm sure you're going to go ahead to strawman his position. And even if you don't, minimize it by just that little snide mark about it's interesting at 47%. Let's see which one you choose. Let's go.
But since Dragon Age is a fantasy RPG, it doesn't really further your point. In any event, I'm genuinely happy that those female gamers are enjoying themselves. But they aren't the majority demographic.
Alright, bringing up his point again for his video. This is actually pretty handy for this. So, yeah. So, he's making this point. He's singling out all of these other games. And so, let's just kind of speak to what's going on. And give me a second. I want to actually just make sure that my mic is actually working. Alright, there we go. So, he's actually making a point that he doesn't understand. He just took this point and actually just still try to bend it to what he wanted to do. Well, they're not really games. They're open action RPGs. They're still open world games, dog. So let's go.
In open world games. Honestly, I don't entirely understand your second statement. Women represent about 35% of the player base in MMORPGs, but that's also a different genre with fairly different mechanics. One, they're fantasy-based, and women like that. Two, yes, there is cooperation for mutual gain, but there's also a number of roles in MMORPGs that women fit into well.
Alright, so, here's the thing. He just committed the fallacy of no true Scotsman, where MMOs are RPGs, are open world games. There's no way of getting around it. There is grindy shit to do in it. There is all types of cooperative gameplay to get to it. He just committed the fallacy of no true Scotsman of saying, well, it could not be any true Scotsman, where you just had your point negated. Now, if you want to, again, if you want to make a point saying that, no, these aren't open world games, which are a lie. I played online MMO for years. I played the online MMO freaking DCUO. That was my first, that was baby's first MMO. And it had men and women playing. The fact that it was a RPG meant that it was a MMO, that it wasn't an open world game. That's bullshit. It was grindy as hell. It had all sorts of shit to do. And guess what role I played? I played a healer, but no, you're not going to say that. You're going to say that only women play healers. Let's continue.
Females typically play more support roles, while men play tanks and other aggressive classes. The way men and women typically conduct themselves in games seems to play out across genres.
Again, DCUO. Now, this is anecdotal experience, but I played sorcery. I fucking played sorcery. It was a healer class, but it was definitely an attack class. And the fact that you don't see what's going on here, the fact that you don't see that you're making this fallacy, another fallacy of incredulity, because you don't understand that women, they shouldn't just like being attacking and being attacking. Fuck, I play as a sniper. It's not that a gender plays a specific role. When you log into an MMO, they don't say, are you a woman? Well, you only have heal and support class. No, you can play any role that you want. Let's continue.
For example, in first-person shooters, women tend to prefer to be more stealthy and to fight at a distance. This makes sense because women aren't stupid.
So, you just oh god, I'm gonna be glad when I'm finished with this guy's video. You just call men stupid. And fuck, I like being stealthy. Stealth kills are some of the best. I fucking have Assassin's Creed, which I kind of have to get back into. I have to fucking beat Assassin's Creed, but that's further down the line. That game depends on stealth. And we're not just talking about Syndicate. The best string of Assassin's Creed is the Ezio trilogy, in my opinion. And it builds itself on stealth. You know this. You mentioned Syndicate. But, come on, let's continue.
Probably know on a subconscious level that if they engage in direct combat with men, they'll get crushed.
There are pro women gamers that would kind of whoop your ass in any game that you play, but no, they're weaker than men, and this is actually one of the main reasons why I came to this video. You're sexist, insecure, small-minded little ass. You really think that whatever it comes down to it, you'll be the woman? I'd love to see that day. But let's continue.
Granted, it's a video game wherein they're using an avatar, but again, I suspect there is a subconscious component. While I have no data to back that up, it's interesting to note that Stalin enlisted women as snipers in World War II. Perhaps he did this because their physical limitations for combat were curtailed in that capacity.
Okay, so Stalin gave everybody guns who can fight. And if you were smart enough to be able to shoot people without actually having been shot yourself, then that was fine. But there were also men snipers as well. Here's the thing, little boy. It's people like you that need to step on people in order to make yourself feel better. But in the context of true wit and will, yours is lacking. Now, I'm trying to stay away from ad hominem attacks, but you didn't already call me stupid because you said the way I play a game is stupid. And so let's kind of go for this. Show me why you think that women subconsciously are afraid of men. Oh, you can't, because you straight pulled that out of your ass. And this is the reason why that other video kind of was made. You come from a time where a woman has to be subservient to a man, or you want to believe that's one of the better times, when in truth, human beings, on average, you're dragging out average, are getting smarter. Human beings are, on average, are being more aware and more capable. The fact that you want to go back to a time Because, as I stated before in the other video, because it was economic insecurity, less economic insecurity then than it is now. I get it, but it's not. Please stop trying to double down on women are weaker, so they really don't like these games.
Although I'd argue that the best male sharpshooter will always beat the best female sharpshooter because of an average higher spatial visual intelligence in men.
Citation needed.
Now, that's not to say that the best female sharpshooters today wouldn't destroy plenty of their male counterparts. And the comment in question continues. Also, the whole characterization of the role of men and women just before the birth of civilization is so overly simplified as to be wrong. We can't know for sure how pre-civilized humans lived, but we know it was tribal, tribes with complex hierarchies and a bias for community-oriented social structure. And even if we assume a strong biological driver, as opposed to cultural, if we look at our closest animal cousins like the chimp and baboon, you won't find the social structure you describe. Male and female share most duties when they can. Gathering/hunting is done by all. Among baboons, males will even take care of children. Well, I'm not sure.
Okay, so I watched this video before, but his commenter makes a great point. Before the avid invention of agriculture, we had a tribal system, and it's even in hunter-gatherer tribes that still are around in remote places around the globe today. It's still a tribal hierarchy where people share the work. Our closest genetic ancestors are really the bonobos, and in actuality, there is a hierarchy of women that lead the group because they freaking broker peace. It's not the strongest and the most violent person takes the lead. No, that's an invention that we humans did in some areas where it was controlling the land and passing the land down to your relative, where they stomped out dissent by saying women have to be weak. When they stomped out dissent, where you have to believe with the magical sky fairy, and they stomped out dissent where if you don't follow the norms, follow the respectful culture, then you're an outcast. Stop with this bullshit, because you're sitting here thinking about and romanticizing about a past that never was truly there. There were no great chivalrous knights. No, if you were a knight, most of the time you were an asshole in service of a bigger asshole, and you tortured or you pillaged or you were cruel to people. Let's continue.
How we can be simultaneously unsure of the past and be able to oversimplify it. To oversimplify something implies it is understood at a deeper level. But for all...
Okay, again, with the no true Scotsman's fallacy, well, you can't know it, because if you did know it, you would know it in detail. Even if the guy said, as I said, isolated pockets of culture, isolating humans, you still would say, well, no, that's just not the natural order, where we have clear analogs of primate culture. But let's continue.
For all intents and purposes of this exchange, I think we actually have a pretty good idea of how pre-civilized men and women behaved. We know that more women than men passed on their genes, which means we were polygamous, which likely also means that only the strongest, most dominant men got to breed. Most female behavioral psychologists have stated that hypergamy explains why women typically seek out the best of the best men. Pre-civilized women weren't choosing the Bill Gates and Zuckerbergs of the time, because in the context of that primitive world, they didn't offer anything. If the civilized...
Okay, you're right. Because there were no fucking Bill Gates or Zuckerbergs. You sound like these fucking... There are incels. Everybody knows what an incel is. Involuntary celibates. They have this mistaken belief that there are Chads and Stacys and Tyrones that are getting, and normies that are getting all the sex and fun and romance that everybody else is getting. But you're on the opposite spectrum. You so monstro and massive that you still can't get a woman. That's the way that you sound. And I don't want to imply, this is allegedly, of course, but you still can't see the fallacies that you're building in your head. Yes, we have a cultural thing where we want the best and brightest, but that does not equal the strongest or aggressive. It's survival of the fittest. There were dumb motherfuckers that were trying to breed with women. However, our genetic and social history has actually evolved to where you need a partner where it is conducive to a relationship, where it was the reason why we have babies that are so helpless compared to other primates, because it was because we foster an environment where we took care of the children for longer and let more brain capacity and more things actually grow and mature than fucking apes. We're still apes, but god damn it, our children are more dependent on us, so we don't need a super strong, aggressive, one-sided parentage. It was about cooperation. And the fact that you can't see that means that you're more of a damaged person than anything. But let's continue.
If the world today collapsed, your girlfriend would probably leave you for a bigger, stronger man because he'd offer more security and resources. It's sad, but it's true. That's not to say that some women aren't loyal and wouldn't die by your side, but in that cruel world, she might not have a choice. A bigger, stronger male might just take her from you.
The irony of the fool using this clip. The irony. For one, bigger and stronger does not mean fittest. There are survivalists who are wire thin but know how to get shit done. The fact that he used fucking Back to the Future and by the end of the movie, Biff was spit shining George's testicles. The fact that you can't see that you're missing it. It's never about the strongest and more aggressive. It's about truly who can get shit done. And that's not always by violence or force. But let's continue.
The further back you go, the less complex society was, and the less room there was for genetic diversity in the mating selection pool. It was only after beta males cooperated with each other in order to usurp the dominant alphas that they began to have more opportunity to breed. The institution of marriage is the foundation for the complex, highly technological world around you today. One man, one woman. Crime and societal instability almost always are caused by men who can't compete in the sexual marketplace.
Okay. 2 points about what you just said. One, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. If you're such an alpha, why are you so scared of beta males that banded together and took out the alpha? This is the stupid shit that I talk about, that just irks the fuck out of me. People are not fucking Greek alphabets. People are people. And the fact that they took over from the alpha, it seems strange. And by the way, marriage was never about one man, one woman. Marriage is about how can I legally reproduce with as much as my property as I want. I'm African American, and I know about slavery, but marriage was the original slavery, where it was, I'm going to buy your daughter for this piece of land because you have the farm next to me. Oh, you don't like that? Wait, I'm sorry. You're still believing that the 1950s was the extent of all history. Grow the fuck up and read a history book. But let's continue.
The Industrial Revolution, however, has given more men around the world more ways to accumulate resources, social standing, and power. And all those things attract women, whether you like it or not. Are all women the same? No, but they are attracted to different things than men, and there are aggregate behavioral trends. But what's nice about the Industrial Revolution was that it gave women the opportunity to select men based on sets of criteria that were less focused on primitive survival. To me, that sounds like pretty awesome female empowerment. Nowadays, they don't have to choose men based on an archaic mating paradigm, although they still do in many cases because no one has taught them how their brains work.
Women fall for less than optimal men because they're stupid. This implied just, I think, you know what, I wouldn't wear a shirt like this that says, no, you're right, let's do the dumbest thing because it's easier for you. No, I wouldn't wear a shirt like this if I thought that people were highly intelligent, smart, thoughtful, and, mindful creatures. No. But your degradation of men and women is sad. What hole do you have in your heart? Let's continue.
It goes for men too, by the way. No one has taught them how their brains actually work either. Also, comparing humans to chimps is kind of bad for a number of reasons, and most chimp behaviors can't be used to further assertions of male-female equality.
Yeah, they're analog. Better analog are bonobos. And I loved how you just show Conan, like, you have this vision. I think you might no, I'm not going to put that assumption or assertion, but let's go.
Chimps have a clear dominance hierarchy, with the alpha male at the top who impedes the sexual reproduction of lesser males, and all the females are subservient to him.
Alright, so, fun fact. I did this on my other video about white men, black men in between like white women. There was a scientific study, and there have been multiple scientific studies. It's not the most aggressive male. And they actually use chimpanzees. It's not the most aggressive male. It's the most cooperative. It's the one that can build alliances that actually become alphas. And it's a rotation. It's never just, it's never the gorilla situation where you see gorillas battling in the mist, King Kong and all that other good shit. You do your motherfucking research. This video, if I ever get to 1,000 subscribers. By the way, like and subscribe. Yay, woohoo, share my video. If I ever get to 1,000 subscribers, this video is never getting monetized. Oh well, let's continue.
But like I said, I don't think the chimp-human comparison can always reveal our deeper base human nature. Unlike chimps, human babies are born prematurely, and they need constant attention and care. They are utterly dependent on the female for food, shelter, and protection.
No, you fucking idiot. They're not dependent on just the female. They're dependent on both parents. This is why I think that you grew up in a fucked up ass home. God, this is a little history about me. I grew up in a home with a super religious mother and a non-religious alcoholic father. My father still took care of me. My father still actually treated me as a baby human being. He still looked after me. It wasn't just that, oh, well, it's the woman's job. No, you fucking idiot. And then, my sister, who is 12 years younger than me, he still took care of her. Fuck, you are stupid. Fuck, you are stupid. Oh my God, I have an 11-year-old. I took care of my 11-year-old. It's not just the mother's responsibility to take care of her kids. I pray you don't have kids and shit. And I'm a deist. I don't think we have an interventionist God. But let's continue.
Slightest mishap on her part and the baby was dead within a matter of hours. This was a pretty strong evolutionary pressure for human females to develop certain traits of attachment. One of my favorite scenes in any movie is when Ellen Ripley emotionally explodes after Newt gets snatched up by an alien. From a male perspective, she is emotionally compromised. Corporal Hicks understood that, more than likely, Newt was fucked. I mean, his entire platoon was wiped out in minutes by these things. What was he going to do alone against a horde of them?
Okay, so here's the thing. If you're gonna watch Aliens 2, you're gonna watch Aliens 2. Ripley had a daughter. Not only did she have a daughter, she had watched so many people actually fucking get destroyed by these things. She had lost decades of her life because of all of this shit. And yes, she was emotionally compromised because fuck, you seeing the world crumble around you. You want to at least hold on to some humanity, not because you're a mother. And then there are some people that are fucking detached, men and women. They think, I'm going to save my ass and fuck you. Let's continue.
His male instinct kicked in and said, you can't save Newt, but you can save this woman. And Ripley accepted his instinctual male guidance. For a while, at least. Shortly,
Ripley was a fucking minor. This was a fucking soldier. And by the way, what was her? Vasquez? Oh, fuck. It's been so long since I watched Alien 2. But throughout the whole thing, there are people throughout that motherfucking movie where they were soldiers. The soldiers acted like soldiers. Ripley was a civilian. That's the reason why she acted the way that she did. But let's continue.
Shortly thereafter, Hicks got incapacitated by alien acid, and Ripley then defaulted back to wanting to go after Newt, which I don't look down on like a lot of men do. I actually commend and celebrate Ripley's moment here.
What men look down on her? No, they don't look down on her because she's a poor little woman that had to go save the kid. No, they look down on her because they would have actually said, fuck you, peace, I'm gone. Fuck you, little kid. And if it wasn't my kid, I'm like, fuck you, little kid, I'm gone. If it was my kid and I wasn't a trained soldier, I don't know how to answer that question. I just know that I would not know how to answer that question. And let's continue.
Was pure, high-octane womanhood. A good mother will stop at absolutely nothing to save her baby, and if women weren't like that, we wouldn't be here today. The ancient world was full of dangerous predators and environmental hazards. When men failed or were killed, it was women who had to step up.
Okay, so, check it out. First of all, yeah, just going back to the point I was just saying a few minutes ago. If that was my kid, I would be torn because it was my child. I would want to go, but I would be scared shitless. But that doesn't mean that if I don't have the ability, if I have the ability, I'm not going to go. Of course. And this is the part where I get serious. When you're a parent, when you fucking human being, fuck being a parent, and you think that you can help somebody, if you really think that you can actually, something you can do can actually save a life, that's called just being a human being. Doesn't have anything to do with a man, a woman. There are men called firefighters, police officers, paramedics that do everything in their world to save people in dangerous situations. For you to belittle that, I'm just disgusted. And I would want to say that how dare you, man? How dare you? How dare you just... I know I don't it is just me. I know I don't respond to human emotions like a lot of people around me. I know I'm like super analytical, and I know I think about things way more than I have to. But for you just to say, "Oh well, they're fucked. Let's go on," it shows you don't understand human empathy or decency. And fuck decency, you don't just understand human lives, the life of a human, the value of a human life. This is why this shit is dangerous. Ideas like this is dangerous because it's breaking down to what's between your legs to make decisions. But let's continue.
Women have contributed to our survival just as much as men, but they typically didn't do what men did when they didn't have to. Thus, they didn't evolve the specific traits for it. Well, that was a mouthful, and I apologize, but we're not done.
You're not going to use science. It's people. God damn. And I wish I could bring up story after story, time after time. If not, just real data or things of that nature. How many. I was just playing God of War. And fuck, if you know anything about the mythology of what was going on with Freya and how she just strove to protect Balder, all those steps that she took to protect Balder, even after everything that happened, the things that she did to just protect them. If you go back to Egyptian mythology, you did not mess with fucking Horus and did not expect to feel the wrath of Isis. Hell, if you go to the Bible, the story with stories throughout the Bible where it was just, if you want to look at Moses and how his mother hid him and how literally his mother was the ballsiest thing that you could have actually saw. And I know it's a myth, I know it's a story where she put him in a basket in the river and she told his sister, look after your brother. And right when the fucking princess found the baby, the sister said, I know somebody to take care of him. And she fucking took him back to his mother. You see stories like that where, you know, in the Bible where they're talking about the judges and the woman who got the king. And like, if you see all of these stories, you see the stories of, you know, you see all this mythology of, you know, all the steps that some of these mothers in mythology took for their kid. Achilles, I believe his mother was Theus, well, not Theus, Theta, somebody. She went out of her way to protect him by risking his life by bathing him in the river Styx in order to keep him alive. But no, you don't see that. You see this whole macho bullshit about how women don't do stupid stuff to try to protect people. And it's fucking, it hurts my brain to think that you call yourself a man. But let's continue.
Males being larger is evidence that men were most responsible for fighting and defending the tribes, but it doesn't prove much beyond that. It certainly doesn't suggest that the biological drive to gather, cooperate, and win isn't shared across the sexes. Well, I'm not arguing that women never hunted or gathered. Au contraire, I think they had to in many cases when men were killed.
In most of mammalian animals, most of them, women are a lot of times are the hunter and gatherer. The men are just that fucking foot soldiers. Women protect the young. Women fight off. Even in some cases, if you look at, and I used this before, if you look at lions, the fucking male lions are bigger. They are stronger, but they're only there to fight off the predators, the hyenas. When it comes down to it, the women hunt, they fucking rear the young, and the men are just told to stand there and look pretty. That's all they equate to. But you don't see that because you have been brought up in this whole idea that men are strong and no, women can't take care of themselves and they do stupid stuff and they only excel when they have to. When are you going to excel? When are you going to excel past this stupid notion? But let's continue.
I'm just saying that men are better suited to it than women. Women typically nested and organized resources at home that men brought back. They also took care of them when they got hurt, and why so many people think that's a less important contribution is beyond me. As far as the drive to win goes, women don't have to compete in the sexual marketplace like men do.
And here we get back to this point. He's whining again. He is whining. And I'm just going to actually talk about why he's whining. Because he's saying, oh, woe is me. No woman would actually choose me. Because I'm not big, I'm not strong, I'm not a leader. This is what his argument boils down to. This argument, he made it in the last video that he did. That he has no value. And I asked this, and I know this is a pass. I know he's not going to come back and watch this video. But I asked, please, find value in yourself. Find value in yourself other than what you can do for a woman sexually. God. You make YouTube videos. You're obviously doing some editing. Fucking edit a show. Don't just sit back and use it as a tool to whine. Let's continue.
Females are inherently more valuable than males because of how human reproduction works. Men compete for women. Women don't compete for men. Thus, evolution made men more competitive than women on average.
Women compete for men all the time. They just see it socially unacceptable to seem like they're competing for men. But women compete for men all the time. If you want to talk about, again, social status, social relationships, we can have that conversation. But for you to sit back and just say women have more value than men, you're giving it power. You're giving power and the assessment of value to just giving it away. God, have some fucking value in yourself. Let's continue.
And the commenter's closing remark was the following. No one is trying to take away games made by men for men. There's only a problem when some men decide to purposefully harass female players and developers. Just Google Jenny Hanover. I don't know Jenny Hanover, although a quick internet search seems to show that she amasses and reports on instances of sexist remarks and harassment of women. For the record, I think that harassing women with different viewpoints from ours is unacceptable.
I don't know who she is, but an internet search. The fuck? Like, really, what the fuck? And he's right, you know. Nobody is trying to take games away from men. Nobody is trying to do that. You know, this is the type of person that will complain about snowflakes and will complain that such and such is being a snowflake, such and such is not, why can't they leave the games alone for me? You complain about a loss of maybe 5, maybe 10% of your representation in video games, but you want to complain that somebody wants 5 or 10% of representation in video games? How fucking dare you? I'm almost finished this video. Let's continue.
But when people like Anita Sarkeesian are getting the red carpet rolled out for them at development studios, I find it hard to believe that there is not a push to take away or at least alter game mechanics and elements typically designed for men.
Okay, so let's talk about this Anita Sarkeesian thing. And I watched the video. I know Boogie just did a interview with H3, and people don't like her style. People don't like her getting in your face and being aggressive. Because a lot of people, they just, no, gradually we're working in. Gradually we'll get this. Because gradually never fucking happens. It was, and you know what? You can despise her message. You can hate how she puts the shit in your face. And I'm not a fan of her. I don't watch her shit. I don't give a fuck. Do I understand what she does? Yes. Do I understand the method that she used? Can I approve of the methods that she used? Yes. Do I think that is the best method? I don't fucking know. But I've seen this gradually will give you rights. Let me introduce you to something called the Civil Rights movement, where people didn't do anything that was aggressive. They did things that were illegal, like protesting. It was illegal because people sick dogs on them. When you're in power, when you are the majority, any move of a minority is seen as an aggressive. I'm not an atheist, but a lot of the theist shit that a lot of people say, I see it, and oh my god, you won't let me force my beliefs or religion down on you, so you must be oppressing me. How dare you? How dare you? Well, you're not letting me do this to you, so you're wrong. How fucking dare you? You won't let me run roughshod over you, so ouch, you're hurting my feelings. You want me to take the boot of the you want to take your boot off my neck? How dare you? And this, and I don't want you to say this is a false equivocation. I don't want to set it as a false equivocation. But the way you guys are acting about all of this situation, it's either you believe that they're right on some level, or hear me out, you're just as being a snowflake as them. But let's continue.
What Anita Sarkeesian should do is compete in the marketplace like everyone else. There are plenty of capable female programmers and game designers, and a variety of publishing companies eager and willing to work with them. There's no reason for them to come in and take away or alter the market for men.
Nobody's taking your video games away. She's not going to retroactively go in and take Mario out as the hero of Super Mario 1 and put in Princess Peach. They fucked up Mario Brothers 2 for that. But still, I joke. But they're not going to take your childhood away. They want somebody else's childhood to have a gamer representative of them. And if they get too much power, if they're in a position where they're flipping it on you, then you can fight like them. Here's the thing. I get it. Human beings, they look at a fucking... There's no such thing as a fucking moderation in human beings. You're either completely with us or against us. I did a video called tribalism. But the fact that you don't see that you're whining about the shit, and she's competing in the marketplace of ideas. How did she get this big? Because she competed. And you know what? You compete back. You go to a fucking video game studio and says, hey, let's make this less about women and make it more about men. And go ahead, compete. The fact is, you don't want the competition. You want to shut people up. And yeah, cool. If that's the best way you can get your message out, is everybody to be quiet, then good. That shows how weak you are. I welcome you. I challenge you. If you think I'm wrong, send me a message on YouTube. We can have that conversation. But let's continue.
The thing is, if women really want to be equals of men, then they'll have to compete the same way men do, which typically doesn't involve someone else rolling out the red carpet for you. The world of men is harsh and unforgiving. It's not all that, but it's a facet. As I said before, men are predisposed to cooperate if they perceive cooperation as advantageous.
It's fucking human beings, dog. It's fucking human beings. That's just... We are a social species. And yeah, you're right. People should compete in a way where, if you want to play the game, if you want to be in the kitchen, you have to stand the heat. But don't. If I challenge you on something that I'm really good at and expect you to keep up, that shows only my weakness. If I challenge you something that you're really good at, and I'm able to keep up, that shows my strength. I don't need a rigged game in your favor to show you how good you are. People get upset about the whole talk of needing equal opportunity. People get upset where when you ask for, you know, equal ability to do something, or ask for a playing field that has equal availability to do something. If you play the game to your strengths and only rely on your strengths, both literally and figuratively, it shows how weak you are because you won't play to your weakness. And maybe you're scared to fail. I understand that. We all are. But we're not going to fail. We're going to keep going with this video. Let's continue.
But men can also be violent, especially if communication breaks down or fails. As the lovely Marie-Thérèse Stalescu stated in her TEDx talk in 2012, the world of men is tough. In her own words, al nivel biológico, ser hombre significa no ser mujer, y en cambio, al nivel biológico, ser mujer significa ser mujer. Both girls and boys start out in the womb as female. It is only a few weeks into fetal development that they turn into boys. Boys and girls then start out life after birth, in the majority of cases being raised by a woman.
He did not use science to just justify his bullshit. Did he use science to try to justify his bullshit? And again, you can actually kind of tell that his daddy wasn't around, but let's continue.
Their worldview for the first few years of life is feminine. As they get older, nothing changes for girls. The worldview taught to them by their mothers continues to be valid. But as boys get older, they go through an early life crisis wherein the feminine worldview becomes invalid for them. Just as they went through an internal change in the womb to become male, they must go through an external change in life to become a man.
Oh God. Is my eye twitching? Like, his stupidity has just hurt me. Okay, so I forgot how stupid it was when I was watching this video. There is no overall woman point of view that a man has to change. And this is coming from before I started the stream about an hour ago, I went to the bathroom. I'm a man. I also, dude, hear me out. Hear me out. I know women, and the change in adolescence from kids to teenager. There is a change of worldview for everyone. How many? Who? Everyone. But you don't see that. You're locked in this concept of women have it so easy. Being a man is hard. Being a person is hard. But let's hear your sad little days of a teenager.
Men have to go through a process to differentiate themselves from women, who are, for all intents and purposes, the baseline of our species.
Dude, you're not Conan. I'm tired of you showing the clips of Conan. Like you just Conan.
So even at an innate biological level, a man's world is one of conflict. Perhaps partially resulting from this, men are naturally less neurotic than women and can tolerate greater levels of harassment, violence, and stress. Many women who venture into the world of men are often shocked. What they see as injustice, bullying, and mistreatment are simply par for the course of being a man.
Okay, so Yeah, let's have this conversation. The shit that men do to each other, we shouldn't. We shouldn't bully. We shouldn't harass. We do it. And I've been guilty of it. And the only reason why we do it is we try to prove ourselves to be a better man than the next boy next to us. It's fucking inhumane more than anything. Now, this isn't to say you can't be aggressive, you can't be masculine, but if you're judging yourself by how much more of a man than you are over somebody for trivial reasons, have news for you. You're doing it wrong. But let's continue.
The insults women get in chats, the harassment, the threats, the crude remarks. You think men aren't bombarded by any of this in online gaming? Even if what men face isn't always sexually charged, and a liberal use of the word fat would dictate otherwise, they still face a similar level of conflict.
This is the reason why I'm gonna tell a secret. Watch this. I have a PlayStation. What? No. Um, before that, before I had a PlayStation, I had a Genesis. And before I had a Genesis, I had Super Nintendo, stuff like that. I remember the marketing that a lot of. I remember those early '90s marketing. They say, "Oh, you're a man, and men, you know, you." It, I remember the marketing for other consoles, and not to say anything bad about those other consoles, but they marketed to the Mountain Dew and Doritos type class where they had no value in themselves, so they tried to be more macho online. Facebook, Facebook folks, you know, MySpace gangsters, keyboard, keyboard G's. I call it what you will. They try to act more tough online than what they truly were. And no, you're right. They don't have as much sexual innuendo charges about one man screwing another man because that would be homosexual and that would be pulling a man's card because you're saying that you're going to have a relationship with another man. No. It turned into, oh, that's why I screwed your mother, or that's why I did this to your mother. Oh, wait. It's the same type of harassment? No, it's not. No, they never said that they're gonna rape and kill you. No, they did. They said that about your mother. But that's okay because it's coming from a man. One man to the next. Let's continue.
Men talk shit to, make fun of, and harass each other. The difference is that women are not equipped to handle it like men. Not on average, anyway. Now,
no, men are told to just grin and bear it. And you know what? That's not a bad thing to say. And hear me out. Don't get me wrong. I'm going somewhere. You should have buttons that nobody should be able to press. And seeing how some people actually like, God, I can't find the box to this shit. Oh, there it goes. Seeing that how some people actually like to press buttons because they are so small-minded. That's fine. And I'm sure you believe AK, I'm just going to say AK from now on. I'm sure you believe that it's okay to treat people like that or talk shit about people like that. It's not. We shouldn't be doing it. Now, it's okay to criticize some people. I criticize people all the time. I'm criticizing you now. But just to blatantly talk shit about somebody? How is that okay? I need my Boston Baked Beans. I haven't had any in a while. But let's continue.
I won't argue that everything men do is right or even healthy, but the world of men and the world of women are two very different places, and wherever they intersect, there is a lot of confusion.
So you know it isn't right. Why do it? You know we shouldn't be doing it. It's sad, really. Broken people. Shit, I thought I was broken, but damn, these motherfuckers are just broken. But let's go.
That's why this gender neutral nonsense has got to go. All it's doing is pouring gasoline on the fire.
All right, so I'm done with this bullshit. I can finally erase it off of my motherfucking hard drive. So, yeah. Um, wow. That motherfucker has some issues. Throw this up. Yeah, have nothing else. So, what did we learn today, class? We learned that some people see no value in and of themselves at all. Some people actually believe that it's what you can obtain to have value, which is stupid. Some people feel that they should treat other people cruelly in order to make themselves feel better, which is kind of also stupid. We learned that women are stupid and men are stupid, so I guess that means people are stupid. Oh, we also learned that women are cowards unless they have to not be a coward because of reasons. I don't know. I'm at a loss because this fool, and I'm going with the ad hominem attack. So fucking crucify me. I know I shouldn't just talk bad about people, but I'm going for it. I'm judging his actions and his character that he's actually portrayed. So when I say he's a loser, I say he's a loser at life because he has a mindset of somebody who thinks because you aren't big and strong, you won't be successful. I'm actually big and strong, and yet I don't let my power define me. I'm also intelligent, and I kind of let that define me a little bit more. I feel for this man. I truly do. And it's not coming from a place of pity. It's not coming from a place of, haha, stupid, so let's take care of the moron. No, this is the reason why I do this. People like this, all the other videos that I've done, the the response videos I've done, people like this need to have a true value in and of themselves, where they're more than just reproductive organs. But we don't. I don't think they know how to. And they put the illness on other people to actually say, well, you did me wrong, so it's all your fault. This did me wrong, so it's all that fault. The moral system is broken, so I can't find a good woman. This person is stronger, so I can't find a good woman. Women are weak, so they don't need to be strong in video games. Men are being Hollywood is forcing things down men's throats so they can accept to be below women. In all of my life, with all of the people that I know, no one can force me to take a position. They can provide me with information. They can provide me with a convincing argument. But no one can force me to take a position that I don't want to take. I don't do this to force you to take a position that you don't want to take. Do this to show where you're wrong. Yeah, of course. Fuck. I'm not I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining why I'm right. But this is why I try to not go to ad hominem attacks. But it's just so fucking hard. It's so hard when I see people that have talent enough to edit video games, and that shit takes talent. It takes a it takes a skill where you have to do something. You have to put something together. You have commentary, and yes, you're coming with the wrong conclusion, but you're at least thinking. You're not, and I just wish you wouldn't cherry pick so fucking much. And that's what everybody that I'm responding to. But it comes down to it. If you want to talk about a systematic issue, you want to talk about social economic issues, fine, we can have that debate. But when somebody who has less power than you is you're claiming that that somebody is controlling the reins of power, you're giving up your free will that you think you have to do something about it. If you think that women are taking over the world and they're working together in some backroom cabal where they're trying to make men less masculine, and I don't know what to tell you, because no amount of evidence that I can show you about people being oppressed or people being downtrodden will convince you, because you're touched just a little bit. And I understand. Hell, it was a time in my life where I just thought, oh well. It was a time in my life where I thought, you know, it was somebody else's fault, and I just thought, hell, why why bother with the responsibility of changing things that I couldn't change? And I used to think that. I used to think that my ideas are my ideas. I think people are just stupid and just I should just leave them to their own devices. But doing that and hoping for gradual change, or hoping to see things get better, never happened. So I'm making it my mission to respond to this shit in the things that I like. God, gaming has been for everybody. Old, young, male, female. Gaming has been for everybody. I remember my first girlfriend, long term, I got because of gaming. And it wasn't that we had some super political thing. It was just like it's a hobby we share together. And a lot of these people that complain about how women don't need to be in games can would actually benefit from having a woman to sit down and play games with them. Maybe you wouldn't feel as ostracized as you do. Maybe you won't feel as controlled as you do. I'm I'm just disgusted, guys. I know this is rambling on, and I'm about to actually end this broadcast, but I just wish that our community, the gaming community, would actually take their heads so far out their ass that they can actually see that gaming can be for everyone. These little boys, because that's all they are. They may be biologically man in the sense of they've reached maturity, but they're little boys. Stop playing with my toys because they're mine. They need to grow up. And I'm going to drag them, kicking and screaming. Well, with that being said, guys, I thank everybody who's watched me tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.